They played your trial ends, and I'll hand you over to Janice Gowick and commentary.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Co-operative Funeralcare International Open 2015 here at Blackpool Newton Hall, which is part of the Partington's Holiday Parks group. I'm delighted to be joined for this game in the commentary box by Des Can, who's the Australian qualifier. Welcome to the commentary box, Des.
Thanks, Janice. Thanks for having me.
You had a game this morning with a little matter of the world number one, Paul Foster.
Yes, it was a very good game and very good experience.
Yeah, it was a good game. I'm sure the viewers out there that watched it would say you did yourself proud out there. Not easy to play against these guys, and that's the same thing that John Bezear's got to face here. He's facing the world number 5, David Gourlay, one of the most consistent players on the World Bowls Tour circuit. But I had a word with John the other day, and he's not just a Canadian qualifier. He used to play and represent Australia. Well, David's got off to a good start there. It's all about finding your line and your weight early days in these games. For those of you out there that like to watch these games knowing what the players are actually playing with bowls-wise, David Gourlay is playing with Taylor Ace size 4s, and John is playing with the Aero Revolution size 4s. You played with Aeros this morning, didn't you?
Yes.
Quite a new bowl on the scene.
Yep. They've actually handled very good out there. I was very surprised.
Looks like John might be using a little bit of weight here. I noticed in practice he wasn't scared of striking. And of course the Australians are known for being big strikers. Wait to see where that goes. It looked like it had gone out the side of the rink, so yep, it's gone back on the respot. Not easy to get out to the respot on this rink.
No, not at all. It's you're just on the boundary line, very close. I actually sent one into the boundary on the practice.
Oh, right. David looks close here. Might just be running a bit. There's a bit of room there for John. That looks a very tight line, but the Revolution do hold that bit more than the Taylor Ace. So this is all on his pace. I think first blood there to John.
John Bezear.
John leads 1-0 after the first end. These World Bowls Tour games are 2 sets of 9 ends. If we get to 1 set all, we go into a 3-end tiebreak. We have had one game go that way today so far, and that was the first game of the day. It was your game, Des.
Yeah, I was pretty lucky actually. After the first set, losing 10-1, I was very happy to get 11-1 in the second.
It just shows in these games, though, how even if you lose the first set, it's still possible to win the second set and get into a tie-break.
Yes, definitely, that's for sure.
Track length 25.5 metres.
It looks a good line. He was practising the short jacks when I was in on Thursday. Actually went on the rink myself for a practice, and John said, do you fancy coming on with me for a few ends? Give an Australian a bit of a beating. It certainly did me the power of good, because the event I was practicing to play at yesterday, myself and my partner, Sue Kearsley, who's the assistant manager here at Blackpool Newton Hall, we won it. So the practice did me good. Let's see if it does John any good. Looks a bit wide with that, I think.
One red.
Saying to the viewers before, Des, that qualifying isn't the easiest job in the world. What sort of qualifying process did you have to come through in Australia?
Well, we have our state qualifying first, and then if you win that, I think that was about 5 games. If you win that, you go through to your Australian qualifying, and I actually played 2 games there to get through. So
7 games to actually get here.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you had the joys of playing the world number 1. I suppose that's has both sides to it, though. At least if you're going to come over, you want to sort of test your wits against the better players, don't you?
Definitely, that was my thinking anyway. Coming into it, I was actually really looking forward to playing him.
Yeah.
One red. That's 6 inches past Jacko.
How did you find the shot clock as well? I know different players have got different views on whether it affects the game or not.
I had to keep an eye on it. I must admit it.
Yeah.
If you follow your bowl down, it's very very quick. Comes up very quick if you're not watching it.
Is it in front of the Davies shot bowl or behind it?
It's behind, just behind.
Just the draw on here, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. He actually looks like he's pretty comfortable with the draw at the moment. So.
It's a very good line. Just overplayed it.
One red.
Which gives David the draw down to the last bolt to get a double. David got to the semi-finals of the World Championships in January. He was disappointed to lose that, as anybody would be, but he's here to try and get this title added to his list of titles. That's 1-1 after 2 ends in this first set at the Co-operative Funeralcare International Open 2015. Good view of the back of a bowls manufacturer's shoe there.
A worn shoe by the looks of that too.
Fence 24.5 metres.
Oh, 2 loose openers there at that end. Still early days in this first round game here. Well, John, can you just adjust on your last delivery? Looks in the area.
Last bowl, 15 inches. 10 inches past Jack High.
I thought he might have changed his hand there to the open draw, but he's just looked for a slight adjustment on his last delivery.
One red.
As I mentioned, David's one of the most consistent players in the top 16, regularly getting to semi-finals and finals. His last big win was back in 2012 when he won the co-operative Funeralcare Welsh Grand Prix, which then became the International Open here at Blackpool when it moved from Wales up to Blackpool a couple of years ago. So he has won this
Close to 2
title.
now, John.
As mentioned before, John Bezear, he represents Canada now. But, formerly back in the 2000s and 2005 in particular, represented Australia. He was the Australian triples champion in 2005. And still names his favourite rink as Warilla. I hope I pronounced that one right.
2 shots, David Gourlay.
So David takes 2 shots there, which gives him a 3-1 lead after 3 ends of this first set. Good game though here. I think John's giving it a really good shot. He came here to win, which is what we tend to find with a lot of the Australian stroke Canada qualifiers, because you're very, very competitive with the bowls. Bowls in Australia is seen as a very sort of professional sport, isn't it, really?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely. And I know a lot of the Aussies have they want to win.
And of course, David played out in Australia for a couple of years. We've had a number of the top 16 have gone over to Australia at various different times. Rob Paxton went out there, came back with a totally changed delivery and got himself to world rank number 2. He's now one of the most competitive and most successful players in the top 16.
9 inches.
Close again, John. Oh, great ball.
What's the gap between John's last ball and my short ball?
It's touching.
It's very close to something. I don't know whether to say that was fortunate or unfortunate, really. He seemed on a good line, but then it just held off at the end. David will come and have a look at this if nothing changes with this bowl. He's got a similar shot on, but it looks like John's in the area again. Great bowl. Well, what does he play here?
Well, I think he's probably going to try and reach it at least on his forehand, I think. If he can sit the bowl, he might get a piece of the jack for a couple.
It's definitely reaching. Just move enough to get the bowl. And it got the bowl.
Definitely one green.
Sorry?
Definitely one green.
One green.
Well, John just needs to repeat his last delivery for 2. It's easier said than done sometimes at this level. Close again. Might just have overcooked it by a bit.
One shot, John Bezear.
So after 4 ends of the first set of this first round game in the Co-operative Funeralcare International Open 2015, David Gourlay leads 3-2. Very tight game here. We thought it was going to be though, didn't we really?
Yes, definitely. They're both very good players, and I've actually had the pleasure of rolling up with both of them prior to the event, and they both were playing quite well, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get to a tiebreaker here.
Yeah, as we mentioned before,
Back then,
I think
35.5 metres.
when John arrived on Thursday, he actually told me he hadn't had a bowl in his hand since last August, because the Canadian qualifiers are actually played on outdoor greens. They don't have an indoor venue there. So he qualified, he turned up to the qualifier, asked if he could play, because he was a PBA member. Played and qualified. But then he's put quite a few hours in. He put probably about 5 or 6 hours in on the Thursday when he first arrived. That's some going, not having picked up a bowl from August of last year.
Yeah, he's finding it very, very easy at the moment.
He'll be doing all right here, John, with the cafe, because I notice his favourite food is can't narrow it down, I love food too much. And then on his other items of interest, on his player profile, he's put, did I mention food? And one thing about it, the cafe here at Blackpool Newton Hall does do very good home-baked food. We're very, very well looked after here by everyone at the club. Well, good ball, David.
One red.
Well, John, just looking to tuck this jack through. It's just a touch tight. Unforgiving on this rink if you're tight. Des, it seems to just whip away from you.
Yes, definitely. Especially you've got to make sure you take your grass or your carpet, or you're in big trouble.
One red.
How many seconds there?
2.
Well, he's asking how many seconds he's got, so I think he might have a little trundle at this again, Des.
Yes, definitely.
He's not played it with a lot of weight, just played it to chop and light. The crowds here at Blackpool are very vocal and very close to you. It's a very intimate venue.
One shot, David Gourlay.
David leads 4-2 after 5 ends in this first set. We've got a good crowd in now.
Got back 24 metres.
Well, that certainly woke up a few in the crowd, and it wasn't the shot clock this time. One of the umpires' microphones must have just, if you walk past somebody that's got a mobile phone, sometimes just affects it. Good start here from David. Great reply from John. Well, John just looking for a slight adjustment. Just overcooked it again. Still good.
It's a very good start to an end that.
Great bowls
Favour
those.
only one. It's close for second.
In Lancashire we sometimes say if you can put a dustbin lid over the top of all the bowls, it's a good end. David's really putting these bowls on a very wide line. Oh, it's very gentlemanly of David. John was just asking if...
David shot bowlers behind Jack.
Yeah, shot bowl is 4 inches past Jack high.
If he could have gone up to have a look after that, and David was telling him what the rules are. As we play under the shot clock, there is no restriction to a player going up to the head at any time. The rule is they have got to have released their bowl within 30 seconds of the last bowl coming to rest. So as long as they can get to the head and back and bowl the bowl before the buzzer, they can visit the head as many times as they want within the end. Well, there is a chance on the backhand here for a trail, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. Or even sitting the bowl is going to get him a couple, I think.
Just going to be under. Likes a measure. Umpire Sandra McLeish being called in to decide which of these two bowls is closest. We have a very strong umpiring team here at the World Bowls Tour. Very steady hands. The eyes of all the world are on you.
One shot, David Gourlay.
That's one shot to David. He takes a 5-2 lead after 6 ends in the first set.
Good game so far. We've only had one count of two in this set, so it's quite a tight game.
Yeah, it's. We have been saying over the years, certainly recent years, the quality of the qualifiers now does mean that the top 16 have got to be on the mettle the first game, or they can go out with a thump. But for the qualifiers, it means you have to get your line and wait pretty quickly.
Definitely take your opportunities as well when they arise.
Yes, if you have a chance, take it. The top 16 won't hesitate.
Your bowl 15 inches.
Just needs an adjustment really on his delivery here. So do you play a lot of bowls out in Australia?
Yeah, we do actually. I do. I know I do. When I get back, I've just been selected to represent Queensland, so I'll be off to the Australian sides in Perth. So
Oh, lovely.
yeah, it's another week away, week off work.
Well, that's the only problem, is that work comes in the way sometimes.
Yes, it sure does.
2 red.
What's the gap, Al?
Gap is 5 inches.
It's ends like these you can find yourself in a bit of trouble quite quickly with the first two. Those first two bowls in especially over here are the most important too.
Right, David's just underplayed that. Like you say, John now has got to try and get a decent bowl close. Again, I thought he might have opted to play down the forehand to just rest that back bowl of David's. It's a narrower target he's playing out down this backhand. I was going to say, he might have just tipped David in for 3 there, in all sorts of trouble now. David received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the World Bowls Tour annual awards ceremony. He was a bit shocked. Very emotional night, that.
4 red.
Very well deserved though. I know. I think the big gun's coming out. He's close.
Oh,
Well, the very worst result he could have got there.
Four shots, David Gourlay.
Well, that gives David a 9-2 lead now. After 7 ends, 1 end's just turned that game round now. We say so often that 1 end can make a huge difference in a game. And there's the other gentleman that does a huge amount of commentary, David Corker, would say. It often tends to happen on the 7th end of a 9-end set somehow. And that was the 7th end.
That length 24 metres.
Since David once said that in commentary, Des, every time I get to my 7th end, I think, oh, I need to really, really concentrate now. Close.
that's a great start, especially where that 4 he picked up. That's a very good start.
Well, David knew he had a game on his hands when John arrived on Thursday. They were both over in Australia at a similar time. Looking good again here.
Once again, Janice, the first 2 bowls there, right on it.
Yeah, definitely the key to singles games over here, as you say. First two bowls, otherwise you're scratching to try and get a result. I mean, that's not a bad bowl from John, but his first short bowl takes away any big runner at the head if it builds up where he could play a runner. And David's on a good line again here. Well, if John plays the same bowl, there's no gap there now. Close. I might have got second out of that. Somebody in the crowd there urging that bowl on. We had the Super Bowl event here back in October where Crown Greeners played against indoor players. A very vocal week we had then.
One shot, first set, David Gourlay.
So David Gourlay wins the first set 10-2 after 8 ends. And that takes us into the second set of this 2-set first round game at the Co-operative Funeralcare International Open 2015, co-sponsored by Just Retirement here at Blackpool Newton Hall.
Yeah, the score in that first set there doesn't really indicate the set there. That, as you said, Janice, that one end can definitely blow the game out. So hopefully John can come back here and play a good game, good set here.
29.5 metres.
Well, he's opted for a longer length jack. He set out with a short jack and played it very well. See if a change of length might suit. We notice the same in your game, as that the longer length jacks seem to suit the aero bowls.
Well, I don't know if it was the aero bowls. I think it might just have been of the deliverer of them.
Oh, right.
But it definitely worked for me. Anyhow, I was a bit scratchy in the first set. Found my line all right. Just my weight was a bit off. So, as I say, I was very happy to get back in that game in the second set there.
One red. Your bowl gap's 5 inches. John's bowl 2 inches past jack high. Two red.
Well, John risked a bit of a runner there. Didn't quite come off for him. David's got a chance of chucking another ball in. It makes it still a big target there, Des.
Yeah, it's a big possibility all three of them can go there if he gets it right, but I somehow think he might try and play a forehand draw there. It leaves a lot of room for David if he does take that out.
Yeah, doesn't want to drop another four, really.
John has 4 timeouts remaining.
Oh, he's going again. Well, unbelievable.
Very stiff there.
And David's got quite a bit of room there. As you said, slotting a 3 here. First end of the second set when you've just won the first set 10-2.
He'll definitely get his confidence up anyhow, if it's not already up after the first set.
Very popular with the crowds here, David Gourlay.
David Gourlay.
Also, of course, there is the head coach of the very successful Scotland Commonwealth Games bowls team. Where all 5 of the male competitors there came back with at least 1 gold. 2 players were greedy, came back with 2. That was only Alex Marshall and Paul Foster, who of course are both MBEs as well for services to bowls, so thoroughly deserved. But David was very proud to be the head coach for that team. He's since stood down from that position. He put a lot of time into being head coach, that he felt he wanted to get back to concentrating on his own bowling, which it's obviously worked for David. Well, one thing that John doesn't want to do now is start fishing. He wants to still play close bowls, try and put the pressure on David. As you mentioned, 2 opening bowls so key. Those are 2 very loose opening bowls. Well, at this standard anyway, we were saying earlier today, Des, that you put up a 6-inch bowl and they don't clap, don't this crowd, because they're expecting great things off you guys.
Yes, that's right. Touches every bowl, I think. It's quite difficult. The green actually runs quite nice. It's quite a nice green. It's just the turn that they take. I think that's the biggest thing that the players need to get used to.
Yeah, they've got really big finish on them. It's a good consistent green. All 4 hands are fairly true, like some rinks you may go to.
3 red.
3 to David Gourlay at the moment. Chance to slot this in for 4, I think. Not a real worry to need to go deep, I don't think. There's only 1 against him at the back.
Bit of a spring in his step too, David. I think he's definitely feeling very confident the last few innings he's played.
4 red.
Well, what does he do here, Des? Does he go?
I think he's probably got to. I think there's not much room, and as it looks like he might be going it.
Yep. And missed it. Could that be the end in this second set that makes the difference?
Does make it a big task to come back from 7-0 down. But there's plenty of ends left, so
Well, there's 7 ends left, but after 2 ends in the second set, the world number 5 takes a 7-0 lead. On the provisional ranking for next season, David does drop to joint number 6
Length 29 metres.
before this event, so he'll be looking to try and tie a few games together. Players really want to try and stay in the top 8. That gives them a little bit of a buffer. Also gives them other events that they can play in.
that's a belly opener from John. Maybe you can put some pressure back on David here.
Well, David just got to try and keep things close. Look short with this. Well, those are 2 very unusual opening bowls for David Gourlay. Well, with the World Bowls Tour live streaming, people can watch us from all over the world, and I'm sure over in Canada.
2 green.
John's 2 children, Caitlin and Chelsea, will be watching their dad with interest. And hello to all our viewers in Canada. And I'm sure there's a few people in Australia that remember John from over there that will be watching as well.
One green in the measure.
I don't think that's quite made. Alan Thornhill, our marker, will tell us shortly.
3, David.
David's 3. Well, David, not the time for a loose end when you've just picked up a 4. Closer. Very close here. Oh, and the going gets tough. Top 16 come up with bowls like that. Well, John's playing a run of this. Looks in the area. David's ball at the back. Shot bowl.
1 shot, David Gourlay.
Gives David an 8-0 lead after 3 ends in the second set. So what's the next event for you? You were saying, Des?
The Australian side's back at home in Perth. Just been picked for Queensland, so my first time in that event for Queensland. So I'm really looking forward to that.
And when is that for you?
That's in April, second week in April, I think. So.
This looks just a little bit under. I think he's under again.
One green. One red.
It's a good reply from David there. John's just having a little bit of trouble with his line and length at the moment.
One red.
Another good ball there.
Two red.
Doesn't want to drop another 2 here.
Timeout called. John has 3 timeouts remaining.
Well, big ball here now for John. Needs to be in the area. It looks wide. Got to be the perfect weight with this. If it doesn't come back.
Two shots, David Gourlay.
Well, that gives David a 10-0 lead after 4 ends in this second set. There's a saying over here, I think you can be starting the car. Oh, not just timing, that was not a car horn. Do you think they heard me?
Oh, I think everyone heard that.
Certainly in a stadium like here, if the shot clock does go off, it certainly echoes.
Good start from John here. And, I think if he wants to have a chance at winning the game, he really needs to play a few more like that.
Yes, 5 ends to go. He needs to count 11 shots in 5 ends. You're looking at picking up 2s and 3s. And if I was a betting person, I can't see David Gourlay dropping 2s and 3s at every end, over 5 ends. But
Two green.
Can't write off the Australians, Janice.
Never write off the Australians. Had the pleasure, as a few people know, of playing with one of your fairly well-known Australians, Karen Murphy, a couple of years back in a charity game. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Been friends ever since. Well, if he gets another one in here, it makes a little bit of a target, and I don't think David will be short at this, but he is holding 3. Now David. David likes playing his little runners. And here's the perfect opportunity to do so.
Timeout call. David has 4 timeouts remaining.
What would you be playing at this, Des?
Well, with the 10-0 lead, I think he can afford to have a bit of a run at it down his backhand there. He's got a few bowls to come off there, and if he's tight, he can get his own up. So I think he's definitely got to be. I know he will be reaching, but I think he's pretty safe to play a bit of weight here.
Yeah, nice picture of our trophy there. That one of these players will be receiving on Friday afternoon. David would very much like to be that player. He looks tight to me, Des, with this. Can he get a result off his own front bowl? Well, is this commentator's curse? I just said that David Gourlay would not drop a big count.
Never write off the Australians, Janice.
I know, you were so true. Well, picks up a 4 here. Makes the task a little bit more attainable. Tell you what. Oh, nice cheer from the crowd there for John. I think by the noise he might have trailed that jack to David Gourlay's bowl.
I'll take it and run.
3 shots, John Bezear.
3 helps. It now means that David Gourlay's lead is 10-3 after 5 ends. Now John's taking the mat back up.
That length 24 metres.
Yeah, back down to his 24-25 metre jack. Just trying to shake David Gourlay's length up. Well, David looks on a good line here. I think that last end was just a little hiccup in the world number 5. Just to try and show that he is human. Well, close. Well, never write off an Australian.
That's right.
David might just be a touch short, a touch shy of that. If John can just get past tuck the jack, bring his back bowl into play. Counting 2 with that anyway.
2 green.
This is certainly more like the John that we saw in the opening ends of the first set.
One green.
That's a good bowl there. That definitely makes John's task slightly a bit harder. If he can score a couple here, that'll help him. But one, I don't know. One may be just not enough for him.
Yeah, the trouble is if he just tries to play it too neat, he's got a chance of also tucking the jack to that last bowl of David's. Like you say, David's bowl in a very good position. Overcooked it. Now David. Little touch on that jack. Looks a very good line for it, does.
Yeah, I think he's pretty close here.
One shot, John Bezear.
Well, that proved me wrong there, Janice. I liked it, but
Just pulled up.
Just
Just
pulled
pulled
up
up at
short.
the end. So David Gourlay now leads 10-4 after 6 ends. We've got 3 ends to play. John's got to try and score 7 in 3 ends. He lost the first set to David Gourlay 10-2. So he has to win this set to take us into a tie-break.
That length 24 metres.
back to 24 metres again. John's he must like this length, I think.
Yep, not a bad opener.
Two green.
Well, David. Well, if that's got shot. Still gives John a chance down the backhand. Rest David's bowl through.
Favour one green, slightly. It's close.
He's really got to be counting a 2 or a 3 here, I think, Des, to give himself any sort of chance.
Yeah, I agree. I think David's got too much experience to sort of let a lead like this slip, but it does happen, and as I say, you can't write off Australians.
He's close with this. Just got on the wrong side of it. He might have even rocked it enough to rock it in on these indoor carpets. You shuffle a bowl and it does move slightly. In the background there, 2 members of the Partington family. Mrs. Kearsley and Andrea Shallis, who's one of the directors of Partington's Holiday Parks, who are our hosts here.
Made it closer.
It's nice to see the girls in watching the bowls.
It's really close now. Jack high.
Well, he's gone again. Big opportunity to get it here. Oh, he's played it with a little bit more weight, which just hangs them off. Well, I kind of think this might be party over, even if it's just the one to green.
Have to agree with you there, Janice. It's not looking good.
If David tucks this jack round the corner, counts a 2 out of it. He's not getting too close. I thought he might have gone for trying to trail that. Well, Sandra McLeish being called in to decide on this measure.
One shot, David Gourlay.
Well, one shot to David. It means that John, in my calculations, is needing to count full houses all the way. Not impossible.
Track length 25 metres.
The winner of this game will face Mark Royal Wednesday morning. And at the moment, I'm penciling in the name David Gourlay. Are you over for a while to watch, Des? Now, unfortunately, you got beat this morning.
Yeah, well, I have some family, or my partner has some family in Manchester, so we're going to stay there, and I might stick around for the bowls for a couple of days and watch some of the good players that are still in.
Well, Manchester's not that far away from us here. Only about an hour down the road, so it's not too bad. And you're more than welcome to join us at any point in time. Well, that's 2 of them. As I mentioned, John needs to score 8 shots in 2 ends against the world number 5 and most consistent player on the World Bowls Tour circuit, David Gourlay.
Still favoured 2. Close for second.
Well, David's certainly giving John a chance at the moment. The only problem for John is he can't now afford any movement on the jack. Well, that could be his 3. Now what's his chances?
Well, I think he may have to go very quick and try and get both of the bowls, but that doesn't help him either because he needs the 4. So
yeah, he needs his bowl to stop as well, doesn't he?
Doesn't look good at all.
So could this be the last bowl of this first round game of the Co-operative Funeralcare International Open.
Time out call.
Here we have David Gourlay playing the Canada representative. John Bezear, who originates from Australia. I said hello to him on the first day and he introduced himself as Canada. I thought that's not a Canadian accent.
I think his only chance here is if he does go quick and he gets the jack with both of David's bowls and a toucher in the ditch with the next 3 on the green. That's probably his only shot.
He's trying to play something neat here, which is just to flick out David's bowl, but he's watching it. He's giving it a chance. Oh, great chance.
2 shots, second set, and match.
2 sets to David Gourlay there. He takes the second set 13-4, having taken the first set
Once more, your appreciation
10-2.
to both players, ladies and gentlemen.
Great game there. I'd like to thank Des Pan for joining me in the commentary box this afternoon.
Thanks, Janice. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome to come back any time. And I'd like to thank the viewers out there for your company this afternoon.